The world saying a final farewell to the beloved former First Lady during a funeral service in Atlanta. Friends and family and her husband, former President Jimmy Carter, all paying their respects. We watched as former President Carter, 99 years old, arrived at today's service. Jimmy Carter briefly living hospice care to say goodbye to his wife of 77 years.
Wow. President Biden, also First Lady Jill Biden, in attendance at today's service, along with a number of other former First Ladies there in the front row, all of them coming together to honor the life and legacy of the former First Lady following her passing at the age of 96. Joining us now, ABC's Alex Prochet. He is nearby that funeral service in Atlanta. Also with us, national political correspondent for the Washington Post, Mary Jordan, and presidential historian Mark Updegrove, and family friend of the Carter family, also part of the GMA family here at ABC, Spencer Christian.
So, Alex, let's start. Excuse me. Let's start with you. Set the scene for us there in Atlanta as everyone gathers to pay tribute to Rosalynn Carter.
Hey, Terry. Well, the motorcycles just picked up. You can probably hear the rumbling next to me as this motorcade is getting ready to get on the move. The color guard just loaded the hearse with that casket of Rosalynn Carter, honorary pallbearers being all of her surviving grandkids. This was a tremendously emotional day. I mean, you've seen the outpouring from her family, but also dignitaries, presidents, current and past, also all of those first ladies making their way here to pay their respects, to make sure that she got the send-off that she deserved.
Okay.
And Mary, you have followed all the First Ladies. You've written books about them. You have interviewed them. And you have pointed out, and we talked throughout the service, that although the presidency was pretty rough for the Carters, it's what they did afterwards, in particular, Rosalynn Carter, and how she inspired her husband, and how the two of them really became incredible humanitarians, not just here on the home front, but internationally.
It was so striking to look at that front row. You know, the difference in political parties, the difference in jobs. You know, you had Michelle Obama, who was the vice president of a university before she became the First Lady. You had Melania Trump, who was a former model. Rosalynn Carter was 96, and then we had some people who were 4 decades younger. The idea that they came together for her, I think, is significant. And, you know, as a foreign correspondent who's worked abroad a lot, that's something you just don't see, that people gather, the ceremony matters, that it's the respect for the office. And that is exactly what Rosalynn Carter wanted, and why she invited all those people. And as several people noted at the service, she'd be so pleased that they showed up. You know, in a democracy, there's supposed to be a peaceful transfer of power and respect for the office. And I think that these days, especially after January 6th, there has been new concern about that. And so I thought that was a big moment and an important moment to see that bipartisan display with the First Ladies, the sisterhood, as Jason Carter called it, from the altar.
Spencer, you have known the Carters for quite some time, not only interviewing them throughout the years, but also emceeing a number of events. As you watched the service today, just hearing from family members, grandchildren, their daughter and son, you really did get a taste of something that you've talked a lot about, and that was not only their humility, but Rosalynn Carter's sense of humor.
Yes, that's true. She did have a great sense of humor, as does President Carter, even though he's not often perceived that way by the broader public. But I was so moved by this memorial service today, by Chip Carter's stories about his relationship with his mother, his expressions of his profound love for her, Amy's reading of a young Jimmy Carter's love letters to young Rosalynn. Judy Woodruff gave a wonderful tribute, and Jason Carter. Oh my gosh, his tribute was like a a tribute of a life well lived, along with a love story and a sermon, all rolled into one. I think the words that most concisely described Rosalynn Carter's life were the words that the pastor there at the end quoted from the book of James in the New Testament, when he said, the passage is that faith without works is dead. And Rosalynn Carter certainly lived her faith out through her good works her entire life, right until the very end. And it's just amazing, the life she's lived and the lives she has touched.
It really is, Spencer. Mark, if I can go to you as a historian on a couple of things. First, in that eulogy that her grandson delivered, he kept coming back to a word I noticed: determined. This deep and determined love, he called this determined woman, a strong woman. And I wonder about the way the Carters came, the both of them, to Washington. Southerners. We hadn't had a Southern president in, well, we'd had Lyndon Johnson from Texas, but a Deep South president since the 19th century. And they broke the mold of what a lot of people thought the South was about just a few years after the Civil Rights Movement. Part of that was her determination to present a face of a new South, I guess. And then after, the determination to set up the Carter Center. Talk a little bit about that.
You're absolutely right, Terry. Both of them were stubborn people who were extraordinarily determined. And as you mentioned, Jimmy Carter became the first president from the Deep South since Zachary Taylor was elected to the presidency in 1850. But if you go back, he was also elected governor and ushered in the New South, saying that the time for segregation was over. They went to the White House against all odds after having gone to the governor's mansion against all odds. And then Jimmy Carter resurrected his post-presidency through the Carter Center with Rosalynn Carter as an equal partner. Jimmy Carter and Rosalynn Carter did remarkable things through the Carter Center, and I think that is so much a part of both of their legacies. What struck me, though, today, Terry, was, as Mary said, that tableau of former First Ladies and Dr. Biden in the front row. I had lunch with the Carters about 6 years ago in Plains, and both of them expressed deep concerns about the divisions in our country at that time. I think they were still concerned about the divisions in our country today. But to seeing former First Ladies, both Republican and Democrat alike, as well as our incumbent president, former President Clinton, that was a remarkable sight today. And I think it's one of those only in America moments.
Absolutely, and it speaks to the power of their example as public figures. But Spencer, if I could close with you, their example as a married couple, we just saw the montage of pictures. It is really astonishing. 77 years, clearly still stuck on each other, right? Still very much in love with each other. And as you got to know them...
No, go ahead.
You must have seen that, yeah. No. I'm just asking about that.
I like the way you put that. Still stuck on each other. That's exactly, that's a great way to describe their love and how they so freely displayed that love for each other publicly. You know, one of the speakers, I forget which one it was, it might have been Jason, the grandson, made reference to their appearance on the Kiss Cam at a Braves game. And I went back into YouTube just to replay that video and look at it again. It was just remarkable. At that time, I think that game was in 2016, so President Carter was 92 and Mrs. Carter was 89. And when he realized they were on the Kiss Cam, he just leaned over to her, grabbed her hand, she looked at him, and he gave her a big smooch right there on the Kiss Cam. And that's exactly how they were everywhere. They were everywhere I ever saw them go. And I spent, a good deal of time in their company over a period of decades. And as many speakers pointed out today, they were always holding hands, they were always kissing, or just admiringly staring into each other's eyes. It's just, their relationship is just amazing.
A blessing.
I was saying, if only every marriage could be that way, would it be it'd be a better place? Everybody agree?
On better days.
Totally
That's right. Alex, Mary, Spencer, Mark, thank you all so much. Really appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.